All right, so welcome back to another episode right here from SFA Live at Moscone. We are at the Winter Fancy Food Show. And as you know, we've covered everything from brands to products here. Now we're going to take a dive into the hospitality space. I've got George Morrone with Kimpton Hotels. And of course, you are the first ever culinary director over there. So
First of all, hi, Paul. Thank you for having me. Yeah, yes, I am.
Great to have you,
Yes,
and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a job that I've wanted for a long time in my career. Just to put it in short, not being an executive chef anymore, but being a director of culinary, I love mentoring and nurturing and finding the future creative talent for Kimpton. For us to continue that level of integrity that we've always had.
Yeah, I don't think too many brands, whether it's a concept brand or a hotel brand, have really put in the time and effort, I think, to develop, positions like this before. So this is really, I think, an advancement, a great advance move by Kimpton to do this.
I would have to agree with you. It's hard with 55 plus outlets now.
Yeah.
To keep pushing the bar and raising the bar.
Yeah.
And what I do is I ensure consistency because I travel to all the properties, and now I'm in charge of hiring the chefs as well, moving forward.
Okay.
So we have legacy properties with legacy chefs that I've gotten to know, and now I've probably hired 20 new executive chefs in the last 3 years.
That's great. I want to talk to you about that because sourcing chefs is a big deal these days, being able to know talent when you see it. How did you get into the restaurant business? What was it that drew you to hospitality?
Well, I had a choice between the dry cleaning business or food. And there's a bakery next door when I was young. That's how it started. Ended up Culinary Institute.
All right.
After that, went to Manhattan, worked under the Charlie Palmer tree at the River Cafe.
Oh, okay. All right.
In '84, I moved to California. I worked for a gentleman named Brad Ogden at Kimpton Place Hotel.
Nice.
From Kimpton Place, I became the youngest executive chef ever at the Hotel Bel Air in Los Angeles. I was 26.
Wow. Okay.
From there, I came back to San Francisco and opened a little restaurant called Aqua back in the day.
Okay. All right. That's a good one.
Thank you. Yeah, had a good run. From there, after Aqua, I did a couple more things until I met a lady named Nikki Leondakis, who was the head of hotels and restaurants for Kimpton.
Yep.
And we created this little restaurant in the Palomar Hotel here in San Francisco.
Right over here around the corner.
Called the Fifth Floor.
Yep.
After that, I left the company for a number of years, and just recently the timing was right for me to come back and have this position. And it's been really exciting and challenging at the same time to find the right chefs, the right fit, depending on the market.
Yeah. Well, Kimpton, when I've been a long time Kimpton, Karma before it was, now
Inner
it's something
Circle
else
Karma,
now.
right.
So, been a big Kimpton lover. What drew me to the Kimpton hotels was just this whole approach toward every detail mattered, from the hotel side to the food and beverage side, which is usually where in hospitality you get that's where it separates.
Right.
If it's going to break down, it's going to break down at the restaurant.
Well, I think I could explain it pretty well. 1981, there was a man named Bill Kimpton.
Yep.
And not only did he have a passion for great hotels, but at the same time, he had made sure and instilled this and started this, the same passion for restaurants and bars.
Yeah.
And we've continued that legacy, and we've continued that forward thinking. And I think what sets Kimpton apart from other major hotel brands or companies is we allow creative growth for our chefs. So that enables us to attract really talented people.
Yep.
Because we give them a guideline for whatever the concept is for that property, for that restaurant. But then they take it from there. We let them drive the train. Yeah. And that's very unique.
Yeah. Well, with your credibility, I think, of kind of coming from the roots of great restaurant operations and, building great restaurant brands, I'm assuming that it's easier for you, at least, to see that talent developing around restaurant concepts and being able to kind of pick that, whether it's an executive chef or a sous chef or the likes, to be able to launch into leading a, kind of a boutique hotel restaurant brand. Is that something that,
Well, there's two
how
ways.
do you go about that process of finding those people?
The way I like to go about it is that using all my resources, which is, whether it be my vice presidents, my director of operations, and what we try to do now is home grow.
Okay.
Number two. All
I
right.
see.
So because everybody complains these days that there's a shortage of help, especially in the Bay Area because of the cost of living and all that stuff. But even other markets, people now are in the tech business. We're losing. It's dwindling. So what we've looked at and we've been successful with it is grooming the number twos, and then promoting them as we grow as a company.
Yeah.
And that way they already know our philosophies. Our financially how we operate, so it's been a successful formula for us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the boutique hotel and the boutique food connection. And the way I like to call that is it's usually a restaurant you wouldn't find somewhere else. It's usually like a one-off concept, much like a high-volume independent in New York, where it's just so unique, it's difficult to replicate it. Much like the hotels with Kimpton. Almost every hotel has its own unique personality, and the restaurant seems to do the same. Is that something that is a planned process for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, experiential dining is what we like to call it these days, right? You got to start out with the decor, you got to start out with great lighting, you got to start out with beautiful, these days it's pottery, interesting china, music program. And obviously, incredible food, incredible cocktails,
right.
And that's what we focus on, and I think that's what gives our restaurants really great individuality.
Yes.
We like to enroot ourselves in the local communities and cater to locals, as well as catering to our hotel guests.
Okay, all right. One thing I've noticed that and I'm a big, obviously a big Kimpton fan, but I've seen from restaurant to restaurant, hotel to hotel, the implementation of kind of these artisanal touches toward whether it's in the liquor selections or something I see in the creation of a dish that you wouldn't find that particular ingredient, much like some of the products you see here at Fancy Food Show.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an intention? Is that something that you guys are trying to use products like that, especially food or
we have our annual culinary cocktail survey, which we do throughout the
I know,
company.
we just saw this, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because we ask all our chefs, all our bartenders to share, to participate in this survey. And that's how because of sharing information, and we get it all from the field, right? We get all our information from the field, but we ask through either the cities that they live in or through traveling. Traveling is a big part of learning and growing of what's trending out there. And as you see now, as you brought up, in a lot of our Kimpton restaurants and bars, the bartenders using edible garnishes.
Yeah.
And that's been really fun.
Yep.
And then the chefs are doing fermentations and fermentations and then food awareness, food wellness. From superfoods to being cognizant of raw food, vegan, gluten-free.
Yeah.
Cognizant.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's and I think what we're seeing in terms of kind of the healthy halo movement of travelers who are trying to. I mean, for me, I know I'm a big, not necessarily a health nut, but I like try to eat right. But I always appreciate it when a chef is trying to introduce something that helps a little bit with that element, but not yet giving up all the great flavors and things like that. Let's don't go too far.
True.
True.
I mean, I think in this day and age, because of food awareness, in the country, let's take this for example. I think people spend a lot of money these days dining out, and they know exactly what they're looking for and searching, to spend their money these days because of how the last 20 years, how America has grown, has grown up about how where product comes from, how has it grown,
sure,
and then obviously the highest quality. We seek out the highest quality ingredients. Definitely organic, farm to table as much as we can do in certain markets. And then, sitting here at this fancy food show here, there are certain situations where, a chef can source something that we can find here at this show that we can't necessarily make in-house, but we source something that's artisanal and small batched.
Yeah. So super high quality, unique elements. That really kind of, and those are the ones that are the most difficult to replicate in most cases, where you can go in that direction. All right. So as you're charged with culinary development of both staff. Are you involved in the design of concepts and menus now?
When I'm asked to, when I'm called to, we do have a concept development team.
Okay.
But we're growing at a rapid pace.
Yeah.
I might be asked to work on some given direction, to work on a concept that's going to be used for a new ownership group to take a look at what we might do in a market like Indianapolis or Cincinnati. Yes, but for the most part, we have that crew. I get involved a little bit later.
More in the operations side, working with the teams to get things going.
Well, the hiring, the training.
Yeah.
I do the openings.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the training team. And then I also responsible for doing workshops. If a DO calls me and says, I think you need to come out here and take a look at this, sometimes the train goes off the tracks.
Yeah.
And I'll go out and I mentor. I help. I point them in the right direction, get the train back on the tracks, and the chefs love it, and I get enjoyment out of it, and everybody wins. So it's nice.
I like it. So last question is kind of the track of where Kimpton is today and where you guys are going. Where's your development plans? Any new hotels that are being grafted in that you can talk about?
I'm not allowed to talk about them, but we're expanding nationally and globally quickly.
Yeah.
And so getting back to finding talent, that's another reason why we're grooming the number twos, because it's happening so rapidly.
Sure.
But I think the key for our continued success is to all the points that I've mentioned about we need to stay consistency. We need to keep that bar raised.
Right.
So when as you're saying, when you travel and you're going to go to a Kimpton, you're immediately going to go to a Kimpton. You brought up the Gray with the boutique
great
model.
hotel in Chicago.
The boutique model that we have at Volume 39. So I think being creative, we have to stay on top of the creativity. Mm-hmm. Create for that, like we did in that space. We just did something in Boston called Better Sorts.
Okay.
And it's the same boutique model like that.
Which hotel concept? Trying to think of the ones that are there in Boston. Was it a new design, or did it go into? So it was revived. Okay.
It was revised.
All right.
It used to be called Highball.
Okay. All right. Very cool.
So we're always trying to be creative and being ahead of competitors, but always catching the public's eye and our hotel guests' eye.
Yeah.
So, finding the best talent, using the best ingredients, and creating energy in our restaurants.
Which I would say all of the Kimptons definitely, at least any Kimpton I've ever been to, definitely have that energy, whether it's at the hotel itself or in the restaurant operation. So congrats on that.
We like to hear that. But I believe, Paul, that's because of the at-home office, the talent that we have there, that everyone gets involved from from
Great
design, to culinary, to cocktail, to lighting, music. Music plays a big part these days.
Yeah, very big part. And I think as we continue to see that experiential dining approach toward, at least for me, I now will plan at least one reservation in a city in the Kimpton I'm staying in. So
that's great to hear.
To say that from a food guy, is a big deal, because there's so much out there.
We have
these
about
days.
10 different concepts that run the gamut. That we interchange and use in different markets, and then we've come up with like the Gray and Better Sorts, like we just mentioned, Volume 39 of the Gray. with some really innovative, smaller menus. A little bit
Right.
smaller.
Yep.
If it's not 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that gives us a little flexibility to do something really smart, really cool.
Yeah. I like that.
Do something trending.
Yeah, definitely a good approach. Well, George, it's been great having you on the
Thank
set
you,
today,
Paul.
man.
Thank
All
you.
right. Good
Thank
luck
you.
at your continued success.
I appreciate it. Nice to see you again, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right. So make sure and stay tuned right here for more content coming for the next 2 days right here from the Winter Fancy Food Show. We'll catch you next time.